Christianity is offensively exclusivist. Another objection to theism is that Christianity is offensively exclusive. On this view, we ought to be tolerant both of those of other faiths and those of no faith. And the only way we can do this is by embracing religious pluralism. The view that all views of religion are equally valid and equally true for those that hold them, this, strictly speaking, is not an argument against the existence of God, but an argument against the objective existence of God. An argument that it makes no sense to talk of an absolute religious truths because all religious truths are relative. Religious pluralism is the view that all religions are equally valid. According to religious pluralists, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, Hinduism, Buddhism, et al. Are all equally worthy, even equally true religions. Each of these is a legitimate expression of a unique culture heritage, and to reject it as false is to reject the culture that has said heritage. To marginalize a people. Religious pluralism is currently on the rise. Religious pluralism and political correctness. The reason that religious pluralism is on the rise is that it's politically correct. To pronounce against any religion, it is often thought to say that the religion is false, is deeply disrespectful. Religious exclusivists, those who believe that the various religions of the world contradict each other, and so that only one of them at most can be true, are intolerant. And intolerance is to be condemned in all its forms. On the contrary, religious exclusivism, the view that different religions can contradict each other, is a necessary foundation for religious tolerance. Religious pluralists have no reason to be and cannot be tolerant. Furthermore, religious pluralism, because it both asserts and denies that religious exclusivism is false, is self-contradictory. And the tolerance argument for religious pluralism, which holds that we ought not be religious exclusivists, is by its own standards intolerant. Religious pluralism is not necessary for tolerance. The argument that we must be religious pluralists because we must be tolerant misunderstands what tolerance is all about. To tolerate a point of view is not to believe it to be true. To agree with it, religious tolerance is not to agreeing with people from other religious traditions to our own. Rather, religious tolerance is about treating with respect those with whom one disagrees. In order to tolerate a person's beliefs, therefore, one has to disagree with them. Tolerance does not involve agreeing with people. It involves disagreeing with them, but treating them respectful anyway. There is no need to be religious pluralist in order to be tolerant of those of other faiths. Religious pluralism makes tolerance redundant. It is therefore not only not necessary to be religious pluralists in order to be tolerant, but it is also impossible to be tolerant if one is a religious pluralist. Tolerance requires disagreement. One can only tolerate what one believes to be an error. Religious pluralism, which denies that any religion is in error, is therefore inconsistent with the virtue of tolerance. Religious pluralism is self-contradictory. Anyone who remains in any doubt that tolerance argument for religious pluralism should ask themselves what this argument says the objective truth claims of Christianity. On two levels, this pluralist approach to compromises its own fundamental flaws. First, religious pluralism involves the denial of objectivist Christianity. In saying that religious truth is relative, it asserts that traditional Christianity is false. Religious pluralism is in committing itself to a view that no religion is false, condemns those religions that take the opposite view as false. Religious pluralism is therefore self-contradictory. Second, in saying that we all ought to be religious pluralists, the tolerance argument for religious pluralism is by its own standards intolerant. If tolerance really is of overriding importance, surely then objectivist Christianity should be allowed to hold their intolerant beliefs. The case against the tolerance argument for religious pluralism is overwhelming. Religious pluralism is not necessary for tolerance, and in fact makes tolerance redundant. Furthermore, religious pluralism is self-contradictory, and the tolerant argument for it by its own standard is intolerant. We are in danger of losing the ability to disagree respectfully. Religious pluralism, which claims to uphold the virtue of tolerance, actually threatens to erode it still further. The solution to religious tolerance is not to pretend that we are all in agreement, really, but to learn to disagree respectfully.